So back on the Diablo,
here's what I've found so far. I'm trying to get this hard drive installed and working, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But the computer is kind of like two systems in one. It's got a backplane and a card cage here, which is essentially an entire 8080 microcomputer. You've got monitor, the TV out, you've got memory cards, and COM cards, and processor board and power supplies. But the computer is also a CPM computer, which seems to be what this auxiliary card cage is for, because I've got, as I detailed in the previous video, an actual Z80 card here. What didn't make sense to me initially was why there are dedicated RAM expansion modules over here, which don't seem to, I mean, they're not compatible with the cards over on that side. And these cards are of a different size, so they don't even interchange. So I'm thinking that this is the Z80 side and that is the 8080 side. So it would make sense that we've got a whole dedicated processor board, memory module, everything. So with that in mind, moving on to the hard disk controller. I think that the hard disk is really only designed to work with Z80 applications, since the controller is over here on the Z80 side. I could be wrong about that, but I'm still having an issue where the system boots up, it tries to load the AP program, and then it just sort of stalls out. Some programs will run, other programs, they come up and just display a bunch of gibberish on the screen, and the computer just freezes up. I thought, okay, well, if they were running an inventory control program on this machine, then obviously they were using the hard drive with that. So logically, whatever that program was, and the program's name on the boot disk here is INVCON, inventory control, that program crashes as soon as you try to start it. So again, logically, I'm thinking that that program must be written for the Z80. That way you have, or it's pulling the hardware over there, and it's using the hard disk, etc., etc. So, as I also noted in the previous video, this power supply is the dedicated supply for that entire Z80 card cage. And I just checked it, and I found that there's absolutely no output to that side. So, doing some fishing around, I found that the power feed is not connected to anything. So, if I'm trying to launch a program to take advantage of the Z80 side of the computer and it's crashing, obviously it's looking for something that it can't find, which is all of this stuff here. So I'm going to try to find where that plugs in, test the supply, and see if we can add up those cards in there. This thing, this was in bad shape when I found it, because mice had gotten in here, and this is going back again when I first got the computer, and I popped this cover off, and the whole thing was a Mr. Rat's nest. Mice had gotten in here, and they had chewed through the casing on the capacitors. A lot of these I've already been through and replaced. The supply does work. But what I found was I sort of had to back engineer this thing, because it was kind of, when this system was decommissioned, somebody had just gone through and mostly just cut a bunch of wires and everything. So it had it still has two wires coming out of it. It's got, let's see, yeah, so it's got this main AC line, and then it had another mysterious line coming out of it, which you see plugged into this connector.
and it went up to a mystery module up on the front of the supply. Well, I did a little snooping around here, and I found that that line goes directly into an optocoupler. So what that is like a remote power trigger to power up this power supply. So all I did was I found a switched 5-volt line, which was in this connector, and this may have the correct plug attached to it at one time. So when I switch the system on, the supply now gets 5 volts and then it goes live. It does absolutely nothing without that 5 volts supply to it, which makes sense. So I'm at a point now where the drive is getting power. I mean, the whole thing lights up, but it just kind of sits there. No spindle motor, and no nothing. So I'm operating on the presumption here that the drive is waiting for a start command from the host interface. So, sort of a lot going on here. I think I'll come back to the hard drive, but first things first is to get this power supply livened up.